Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're deconstructing a foundational public record case that strikes right at the heart of the power struggle between homeowners, HOAs, and solar energy rights. We're looking at Garden Lakes Community Association versus Madigan and Speak. Now, whether you're a homeowner, a volunteer board member, or a reform advocate, this docket is just packed with absolutely crucial lessons on governance, accountability, and the real limits of architectural control.
So, let's start with a really practical question. Can an HOA use backdoor methods to block you from installing solar panels simply by making their architectural rules too expensive to follow? I mean, what happens when a board doesn't explicitly say no, but instead hands you a list of custom aesthetic requirements that literally triples your project costs? Can they legally get away with that?
Well, to answer that, we have to turn to the official court record. What we're looking at here is a snapshot of the Arizona Court of Appeals decision. That's docket number 1CCV0570, which was officially decided back in February 2003. This case features the Garden Lakes Community Association as the plaintiff appellant, taking on the homeowner defendants, the Madigans and the Speaks.
Now, real quick, before we unpack all the specifics, please note our standard disclaimer. This explainer provides public record, educational commentary based exclusively on court documents and legal filings. It's designed to empower you with case education, but it is not legal advice.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover the human conflict, the paper trail, the court's ruling, and then we'll break down the practical lessons for homeowners, HOA boards, and HOA attorneys.
Let's jump right into part one, the human conflict, the fight over backyard solar panels.
At the center of this architectural review dispute, we have the homeowners, William and Joan Madigan, along with Henry and LaVonne Speak. They just wanted to install standard solar pool heaters in the Garden Lakes subdivision to save a bit of money on their utilities. But the HOA countered with some seriously strict architectural review guidelines. They demanded that the panels not break the roof ridge line, that they be completely hidden from public view, and that they be heavily screened. In fact, an architectural review committee member actually testified that this screening would need to perfectly match the house's stucco. To put this environment into perspective, in a community of over 2,000 homes, the HOA had never approved a single solar installation, not one.
Okay, part two, the paper trail, and how this neighborhood dispute escalated all the way to the Court of Appeals.
The absolute center of this entire legal battle comes down to Arizona Revised Statutes section 33-439, subsection A. The state legislature passed this law specifically to promote solar energy. It explicitly states that any covenant or deed restriction which effectively prohibits the installation or use of a solar energy device is void and unenforceable. The really crucial phrase you need to zero in on here is effectively prohibits.
So the appellate case really hinged on competing interpretations of what effectively prohibits actually means. The HOA argued for a standard they called inevitable preclusion. Basically, they were saying that unless a rule makes it theoretically impossible to build a solar system, it's not a prohibition. From their view, the homeowners just had to open their wallets and pay for the custom aesthetic designs. The homeowners, on the other hand, argued that strict aesthetic rules, like custom matching stucco, drive costs so astronomically high that they act as a functional ban. They argue that financial burden absolutely had to be considered when evaluating if a rule effectively prohibits solar access.
Which brings us to part three, the court's ruling, and how they officially defined effective prohibition.
The Court of Appeals came down and officially affirmed the trial court's decision in favor of the homeowners. They completely rejected the HOA's inevitable preclusion argument. The court held, and I quote, "Because the cost of complying with some restrictions may be so expensive as to effectively prohibit solar energy devices, we conclude that cost is a factor to be considered." So there it is. The court established that the focus should be on the motivation of the average homeowner, given the financial burden imposed by the HOA's restrictions.
Now, the trial court relied on specific market evidence to actually evaluate that financial burden. A distributor testified that at the time, average consumers in the Phoenix and Tucson markets simply will not buy a solar system costing over $4,500. Consumers need to be able to recoup that initial cost difference through energy savings within about 3 to 5 years. The custom stucco screening demanded by the Garden Lakes HOA completely shattered this economic math, making the project financially unviable for the average homeowner. Because of this reality, the court ruled the HOA's rules constituted an illegal effective prohibition.
But we do need to be really clear about the limits of this case. Yes, this ruling is binding precedent in Arizona, but it definitely does not give homeowners a blank check to just ignore all HOA architectural rules.
The court noted that effective prohibition doesn't provide a simple, bright-line test. It requires a case-by-case factual determination by a trial judge. Homeowners still have to prove, using actual evidence, that the specific financial burden in their unique situation amounts to a prohibition.
So, what does this mean for you? Part 4, Lessons for Homeowners and Practical Takeaways.
If you find yourself in a situation where an HOA demands really expensive modifications to your solar project, you need to build an evidence checklist. First, make sure you save all HOA denial letters, architectural guidelines, and meeting minutes. Second, get written cost estimates from vendors for a standard code-compliant solar installation. And third, get competing quotes showing exactly how much extra it would cost to meet the HOA's custom aesthetic requirements. If the HOA's demands double or triple the price, well, this court precedent shows you have a fact-based argument that their rules are acting as an illegal effective prohibition.
Now let's switch gears. Part 5, Lessons for HOA boards regarding compliance and risk.
If you're on a board, the key compliance lesson here is that enforcing standardless, ad hoc architectural rules without weighing the financial impact carries massive legal risk. During the case, an association representative actually argued that with enough money, a homeowner could custom engineer a system to completely hide it. The court explicitly rejected this. Assuming you have unlimited power to dictate custom designs, regardless of the financial burden placed on the homeowner, is a defense that can land an association in incredibly expensive, protracted litigation under Arizona law.
And finally, Part 6, Lessons for HOA attorneys and litigation tactics.
The legal strategies employed in this case offer some really clear takeaways. Arguing for an extreme, uncompromising standard like inevitable preclusion just fails when it's up against a clear statutory exception designed to protect homeowners. The state legislature and the courts explicitly favor the promotion of solar energy over the strict, unbending enforcement of aesthetic deed restrictions. Pushing homeowners into years of expensive trial and appellate proceedings over unambiguous public policy is a highly risky tactic, and as we saw here, it ultimately failed.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to consider. Does your own community's aesthetic standard secretly act as an illegal prohibition? I highly encourage you to dig into your own HOA's governing documents. Look at those architectural guidelines and review the meeting minutes. Look at the real-world costs of what they're demanding. Because understanding the paper trail is the very first step toward ensuring true transparency and accountability in your community. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.